But first, a little bit about us at SCORE. We are a nationwide nonprofit organization that is an independent part of the Small Business Administration. SCORE provides small businesses with free confidential business mentoring, both in person and online, as well as educational services such as this webinar. We have 90 volunteers in our SCORE Minnesota division, serving Manatee and Sarasota counties. And our chapter was recognized as District Chapter of the Year for 2022. What we can do for you. If you have an idea about a business, we can help you with that thought process. Or if you are ready to open your business, we have somebody that can help with that. If you are already in business and you need a little fine tuning, you could definitely give us a call. Or even when you are ready to sell, we have a team of experts that are ready to assist. We have a brand new website for you to find us on. That's visitscore.org/Minnesota, where you are able to request a mentor or sign up for one of these great webinars, such as the one today with Pamela Starr. And we would not be here if it was not for our SCORE sponsors. We would like to thank the SCORE Minnesota sponsors and community partners that we have highlighted here. And now I believe it is time to introduce our presenter, Pamela Starr, who is a leading authority on building customer loyalty. And take it away, Pamela.
All right, well, thank you for that introduction. As you all just heard, my name is Pamela Starr, and I'm a professional trainer for Grow with Google. Now, you may be wondering, why am I here talking about YouTube? And that is because Google owns YouTube. So that's why I'm here today, talking to you all about YouTube. I am going to share my screen. There we go. And just so you all know, I've got two monitors going. My camera is here. My slides are actually over here. So if you ever see me turn my head, that's simply because I want to be sure that I can see what it is that I am talking about. Let me just move this over here. There we go. All right, so as I just said, my name is Pamela Starr, and I am that professional trainer with Grow with Google. Grow with Google is the division of Google that provides all kinds of educational content to people just like you. All of the Google presentations that I do are all hosted by a nonprofit organization that is a Grow with Google partner. And as you all just heard, of course, today's presentation is brought to you by SCORE Minnesota. As you just heard from Leola, SCORE is a nationwide organization that provides all kinds of great resources to people like you. SCORE in Minnesota is definitely one of the strongest groups, not only in Florida, but also in the country. So I'm delighted to be working with SCORE Minnesota. Again, I've worked with this chapter for a very long time, and they do a fantastic job for all of you. Now, let's talk, though, a little bit more about YouTube, because obviously that's why you're here today. What's interesting about YouTube is, yes, there are all kinds of opportunities to look at videos today, but YouTube is still where people go. There are more than 2 billion with a B monthly users watching YouTube. There is a lot of content out there. People go to YouTube to discover new information, and they also go to YouTube to engage with different businesses. In fact, 70% of shoppers say that they have purchased a brand after seeing it on YouTube. Now, for all of you that probably have your primary business that you're trying to work on a day-to-day basis, YouTube can be a great way to build brand awareness for what it is that you have to offer, whether it's a product people can buy, or if it's a service that you have that you can help them with. YouTube is a really big topic, and we have just about an hour together here today. So this is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to talk about how can you create your YouTube channel if you've never created one before. For those of you who might already have a YouTube channel, this is going to be your opportunity to be sure that you have it set up properly for maximum visibility. Then I'm going to transition into talking about those videos. We're going to talk about how can you create them and how can you organize them in YouTube, again, so that way you get maximum visibility with that. Now, as I just mentioned, of course, we only have an hour together here today. At the end of my presentation, I'm going to share with you some additional resources where you can get more information about Google and about YouTube, so that way you can get the resources you need to be successful online. We're going to start by talking about how do you create your YouTube channel from the very beginning if you've never done this before. You do, first of all, need to sign into YouTube. Now, as I mentioned, Google owns YouTube. Google did not create YouTube. Google actually purchased YouTube when YouTube was already in existence. If you've been watching YouTube for a very long time, since the beginning, you may have a YouTube-only login, which is fine. If you haven't watched Google for years and years and years, you can log into YouTube using your Google login. Now, if you've ever gone to a YouTube video and given it a thumbs up or commented on it or saved it, you're probably already logged into your YouTube account. Now, with YouTube, you can actually do a whole lot of different things with your one YouTube account. But for your business, you do want to be sure that you are creating a YouTube channel that is dedicated just to your business. That way, it would be separate from any videos that you might have on there for your personal life. Sometimes when I travel with my family, we will create videos about our vacation, post them onto YouTube, so that way we can all revisit them at a later date. We mark them as private, so that way random strangers can't see our vacation videos. So you've got a lot of flexibility with that. But for your business, you do want to have a channel that is dedicated just to your business. When you're logged into YouTube, you would click on the little gear icon that's at the upper right-hand corner of the screen. When you click on that, you'll get a drop-down menu, and then you would select Create a Channel. That way you can create your brand new channel right from the get-go. If you already have a channel and maybe you haven't used it in a while, this is where you would go to access your channel again. If you're creating a brand new channel, what you would do is be popped into what is called the YouTube Studio. And this is where you can customize your channel. Now, just for kind of the sake of clarity, a YouTube channel is kind of like, a television channel or a television network. It's the one place where all of your videos are going to live. Some people may discover your YouTube channel and say, oh my goodness, they've got a bunch of videos that are really interesting. Other people may discover one of your videos first and then say, this is really great. Let me go to their channel and see what else they have. So I just kind of wanted to explain that. When you are in that YouTube Studio, that's where you can start building kind of the homepage, for lack of better words, of your YouTube channel. And so what you would simply do when you log in, click on Create Channel, it will kind of pop you into that YouTube Studio. The first thing that you're going to want to do is work on the layout of what your YouTube channel is going to look like. And don't worry, in just a couple of slides, I will show you what this all is going to look like. The first option that you have is what is called a video spotlight. A video spotlight is one video that is kind of your flagship video. That way, when people go to your YouTube channel, they will see that video. The strategy that I recommend is don't worry about that if you don't have any videos yet, or if maybe you just have 2 or 3 videos. But as you build more traction and you have more videos, you're going to want to create something that's kind of an evergreen video. So that way, whenever somebody goes to your channel, they'll see information that's relevant across the board. Not necessarily, this is our, spring products that we have to offer, because next thing we know, it's going to be July and spring is going to be out of date. Underneath that spotlight video, you can start to think about organizing all of your videos on your channel into sections and playlists. Playlists on YouTube are really similar to playlists that you probably already have when you listen to streaming music. So let's say I had a dog training business. I don't, but let's just say that I did. If I had a YouTube channel, I might have one series of videos that is all about how to train your new puppy. And in that, I might have a series of videos that are relevant to things that are just puppies. And then maybe I also have other videos that are about how to teach your puppy how to do tricks. I could have a whole nother playlist that is all about dog tricks. And so don't worry about playlists quite yet if you're just getting started. Over the course of time, as you create more and more videos, you'll start to kind of realize, oh, wait, these videos kind of all relate to each other, and you can go back and you can make those into a particular playlist. So that's how the different sections work. Now, I see SC just asked a question here. Wouldn't it be good from day one to plan from a marketing and navigation perspective to better understand the direction you're going in your business? SD, great question. Absolutely, it would be great if we all sat here on day one and said, this is the direction I want to go. And if that's where your mind is, SD, absolutely. I am personally a planner. I like to plan things like that in advance. But what I don't want people to do is get hung up on, oh, I need to build this big plan before I start. The good thing about YouTube is you can create videos and you can always take them down. So I don't want anybody to not create videos because they're working on their plan. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. So let's talk about the brand for your channel. This is something that a lot of people that have YouTube channels get a little bit off track on. Maybe they start and then they kind of fade away. The brand of your channel is important. You'll be able to create a couple of things there. One of them is your profile picture. And your profile picture on YouTube is similar to your profile picture on different social media platforms. It will be a little circle with something inside that circle. This is the first place where I do suggest you put a little bit of thought into what your YouTube channel is going to be about. If your YouTube channel is about you are the personality of your business. Good example of that perhaps could be somebody who is a real estate professional. Yes, they are part of a larger brokerage, but they are kind of their own brand. If that's the case, you may want your profile picture to be a picture of you. Or if your vision for your business is bigger than just you, what I recommend you do is have something that's a little bit broader. Maybe it's your logo, or maybe it's a picture of something that represents your business. In my fictional puppy training business, maybe when I start out, it's just me, but maybe my vision is to do puppy training franchises, where people come to me and they learn how to run their own puppy training business. If that was the case, I might have my logo and my profile picture or a picture of a puppy or something like that. The next thing that you will upload is your banner image. And that is a long, skinny, rectangular photograph that kind of represents the flavor of what your YouTube channel is about. YouTube periodically changes the dimensions of what those images need to be. So when you're uploading your image, be sure that you take a look to see what YouTube's current dimensions are of that picture. Now, here's a pro tip for you. YouTube will tell you that the banner image should be kind of a long, skinny rectangle. What you want to do is put the most important part of that image right smack dab in the center. And that's because if people are looking at your YouTube channel on, say, their tablets, the sides of that banner image will get chopped off. Or if they're looking at it vertically on their phone, the sides will get chopped off. And so I want to be sure that you do have the most important information right in the center of your banner image. I'm going to pause here for a second. I see some people are starting to put questions in the chat. I should have said this when I first got started. Do me a favor, if you have questions for me, please go ahead and put those in the Q&A. It's just because it's a little bit easier for me to keep my eye on the Q&A versus on the chat. Diane or Leola, if there are questions in the chat already, if you could do me a favor, highlight them, copy them, and put them into the Q&A for me. That would be sure, that way I'll know that I am getting everybody's questions answered. And I will take questions as we get a little bit later on. Now, when it comes to customizing your channel, we just talked about kind of setting up the way it's going to look. There are some other things that you want to do for the channel that you can do in the basic information tab. There is your channel name. What are you going to call it? You also can create a channel handle, which is kind of like at whatever you want your handle of your channel to be, and then a description of your channel. The good news is you can always change any of this stuff as you go into the future. So if you create a channel name today, and then 6 months from now, you're like, that doesn't really represent the flavor that my channel is going towards, you can always change it. Now, let's though talk about the description of your channel. This is something that is super important. You are probably used to the idea with your website that you need to have keywords on your website. And keywords are the seemingly magical words where if only you had the perfect words on your website would magically show up on the first page of Google. Now, obviously, keywords are not magic. They are mathematical formulas. But keywords are important in your YouTube channel description as well. So for my fictional puppy training YouTube channel, I would want to include in my description words like puppy, training, but also maybe talk about dogs, older dogs, dog tricks, those types of words that I would think that people might go to YouTube and search for. The reason why Google purchased YouTube is because YouTube really is its own search engine. People go to YouTube when they're looking for information. So somebody could go to YouTube looking for how to train an older dog. If the words older dog were not in the description of the YouTube channel, YouTube might not offer that channel up to that person that is looking for information. So be sure on your description you are using all of the words that you think people could search for. Now, do not just make a list of words. You do need to write this in a format that makes sense when people are actually reading it. The other thing that you can put in your basic information is your primary website, links to your social media accounts, and contact information if that makes sense for your particular business. Now, here is that image that I mentioned of a well-developed YouTube channel. That image that goes across the top of the screen that has the picture of the smiling man in the middle and those kind of gold bars at the end, that's the banner image. That image is created very carefully so that way if somebody's looking at this channel on a tablet and the ends of that banner image get chopped off, who cares? There's nothing on them. Underneath that is his profile picture. He is his own brand, so his profile picture is of his smiling face. And then underneath that is the video spotlight. And again, that's the very first video people will see when they go to that particular YouTube channel. If you kind of scroll down a little bit, you'll see that the videos he has are organized into different groups, which are the sections, as well as the playlists. I'm going to pause here for just a second and look at the Q&A really quick. Esty says, how long can the description be? Good question. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but it can be pretty darn long. You've got lots of room to talk about what your channel is all about. Let's see. All right, Dolores asked a good question. I have my personal YouTube channel, but I've also added my business channel to the same account. I really do not want two channels. I really did not want two channels, but I wanted to separate the two. Any suggestions? Depending on how many views you have of your videos, your business videos, you've got a couple of options. You can make your personal videos private, so that way the only people that can see those videos are the people that you choose to share them with. And I'll talk about privacy a little bit later on in the presentation. Or what you could do is perhaps take your private videos away from the one channel that's got your business videos and start a different channel for just your family, friends and family videos. The one thing I will let everybody know is if you take a video off of your first YouTube channel and then upload it to your second YouTube channel, you will lose any traction that you have. You'll lose any of your likes, any of the comments. Those will not travel with you to your next YouTube channel. The one reason why I do suggest people think about having a separate channel for their business is because if and when your business grows to the point where you can't manage everything, and perhaps you have an intern or an employee and their job is to manage your YouTube channel, you may not want to have your personal YouTube videos kind of intermingled with your business ones, because you may not want your intern to see perhaps your vacation pictures or something along those lines. All right, I see now we've got lots of questions here. I am going to hang on to that and get into more of the questions as we get further into this presentation. Now we're going to talk about creating and adding the actual videos to your channel. Today, in 2023, it is so much easier than it used to be to create good quality production videos. I've been speaking for Google for 5.5 years, and when I first started, I used to say, people really don't care that much about the video quality as long as the information is good. That's starting to change because if you have a smartphone, chances are good you've got a really good video production studio right there on your itty bitty phone. If you want to have a bigger studio, you absolutely can. But for the most part, if you're just getting started, you don't need to invest a lot of money in getting a new camera or anything like that. So I'm going to give you some tips in just a moment about how you can create good quality videos. When it comes to your videos, this is definitely one of the places where you want to think a little bit before you start creating your first or your next video. There's kind of a trend right now of people just kind of like talking off the cuff on their YouTube videos. First of all, they frequently are not really talking just kind of off the cuff. Second of all, you want to be mindful that you aren't rambling in your videos. So before you start thinking about the first video that you're going to create or the next one, think a little bit about what is the story you want to tell? What is the purpose of the video? Think of it this way. When your video is over, somebody watches your entire video, whether it's 3 minutes or 30 minutes, what do you want them to think? Or what do you want them to do? You don't want them to think, well, that was kind of fun, and then go start watching funny cat videos on YouTube. You want them to do something, and you need to know what that something is even before you start planning that video. Also think about who or what is going to be kind of the star or the focus of your video. One of the questions I get asked all the time is, hey, Pamela, I'm really uncomfortable being on camera. Do I really need to show my face? And the answer is no, you don't need to show your face. You could have a close-up of your video, or perhaps there's somebody else associated with your business who loves the idea of being on video. Perhaps they could be the person in your video. Here's a couple of different story types that you might want to consider when planning your videos. One story could be kind of the story of your business, who you are, what you do, why you do it. Another type could be talking about a product or a service that you have to have. Let people know, how does it work? How does it solve a problem for people? How does it make their life better? That could be a great type of video to talk about products or services that you have. You also can do videos that are kind of promotional stories. We're getting ready for the springtime, although it's probably even hotter where most of you all are because you're a couple of hours south from me. In Tampa, it is really hot and it feels like summer already. I think 3 days or 3 weeks ago, we had 1 day of spring. But you could be talking about your upcoming spring products, perhaps a service that you're going to be launching as we get towards the summer. Something like that can be great. Just be mindful of letting people know if you're doing a video that is about a specific point in time. Be sure in your video you explain, this is something that we're doing in June of 2023. If you're watching this video after that, come back to our channel and see what things we've got going on in the upcoming months and years. simply because you don't want people to watch a video after event is over and say, oh, forget it, I'm not going to pay any attention to those people anymore. Here's a couple of best practices to think about when crafting your video. Your video needs to have a clear and concise message. Do not ramble. Rambling is the kiss of death on YouTube videos. Today, sadly, people, including me, we all have the attention span of a gnat. And if you spend 2 or 3 minutes at the beginning of your video saying something like, hi, I'm Pamela. I'm the owner of Pamela's Puppy Training Service. We're in Tampa and we've been here for, gosh, how many years has it been? This is my first video. I'm really nervous, but I hope you like it. Nobody cares about that. You need to make a strong impression in the first 5 to 15 seconds. Does your dog have fleas? In this video, I'm going to give you 5 all-natural ways to get rid of fleas for good. Then you can get into the, hi, I'm Pamela, the owner of Pamela's Puppy Training Service, or something along those lines. Also, every video you do needs to have a clear call to action. That goes back to knowing before you start planning your video, what do you want people to do? Folks, it's kind of funny with sales and marketing. If you tell people to do something, they are a heck of a lot more likely to do it than if you don't tell them to do something. If you watch other people's YouTube videos, sometimes you'll see people will simply say, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, or share this video with a friend if you know of somebody who might enjoy it. Those are all very specific calls to action. The whole point of getting people to take action on your video is to start to trigger YouTube's algorithms so they will offer your video to more people. If you have a product or service that you want people to purchase from you, you can say something along the lines of, if you're interested in buying this green pen, there's a link in the description of the video where you can go to my website to buy this. Or if you're interested in scheduling a free telephone call to talk about your puppy's training needs, there's a link in the description where you can schedule that phone call. And I'll talk about the description in just a couple of minutes. There are some different types of production techniques that you may want to consider. There's one that's obviously very popular, which we're going to call the selfie video. And that's either I'm holding my camera, don't do that, or ideally it's on a tripod or a stack of books, and I'm just talking into the camera. You might have something a little bit more formal like that, where you've got a backdrop behind you. This is just a wall here in the office of my house that's got wallpaper on it. Or you could have something a little bit more formal. If you are shy and you don't want to have your face on your videos, you could simply do a voiceover. It could be a Google Slides presentation talking about different products or services, and you're just narrating it. If you have actual products that you want to demonstrate, or maybe you are, we have our painter who's online with us, Bob, that does painting classes. That could be a great opportunity perhaps to have a camera up high and down on a desk showing this is how you use this product, or maybe this is how you do this particular painting technique. Point and shoot is kind of like that selfie thing, only the camera is a little bit further away on that tripod that I mentioned. You can do in-action videos. This is how I'm going to show you right now how to teach this puppy to sit. And I could have an unruly, adorable little puppy who does not want to sit. That would be great for an in-action video. Told with text, this is something that you may have seen when you're looking at videos on social media also, where there are just kind of words that are flashing across the screen. And then you can also do animation. Typically, if you want an animated type video, you would probably need to find some type of third-party service that will help you kind of translate your video script into little cartoon characters or something along those lines. If you want to get a little bit more information and examples of these, you can go to youtube.com/ads/video-creation-tips. And that link is on the screen. That is something talking about video ads, but you don't need to worry about ads. You can do those same techniques for your regular videos. Now, I will pause for just a second because that makes me think of a really good question that sometimes people ask me, which is, how much does all of this cost? And the answer is, zero. It's no charge for you to create your videos, no charge for you to upload, well, no charge for you to upload your videos, no charge for you to have your YouTube channel. There are no fees for you to have a really robust YouTube channel. So I just want to let you know, this is a great free way to market your business. If you are creating kind of a live action video, there are some things that I do recommend you think about. First of all, think of the space behind you. It needs to be clear of clutter. You can have, your logo on there, either like a sign on the physical wall behind you, or depending on what type of video editing software you might decide to use, you may be able to have your logo kind of superimposed over the bottom of your video. In all situations, be sure that you do pay attention to lighting. Just like still photography, with videos, you want to be facing the light. If you can film your videos outdoors, you'll probably have the best light. If for whatever reason, that's not the best option for you, maybe it's too noisy, maybe it's too hot, maybe it's too rainy, what have you. If you're filming your video inside, try at least to face a window. So that way you've got natural light, kind of shining on you or your products. You may want to go ahead and kind of rearrange some of the lamps that you have in your space and kind of bring them all together. So that way there's lots of good light that's shining on you. Sometimes it can be hard to find a place, especially if you work from home like I do, where you've got a clear blank wall behind you and good light. So you may need to kind of experiment with that. Sound is one of the things that people will not forgive if it's bad. You definitely want to experiment with shooting different videos. If you're using your smartphone, if you're holding it here, the microphone on your smartphone might be good enough to give good quality audio for your video. But if you've got your smartphone propped up on a bookcase or on a tripod that's 4 or 5 feet away from you, the microphone is not going to be good enough. So the one thing that you might need to invest in would be a microphone. In the past, I've purchased lavalier mics that kind of hang onto my t-shirt that had a 20-foot cord that I could plug into my smartphone. So you don't need to invest a tremendous amount of money. You can either go locally, ideally, wherever you buy any of your technology products, or if you can't find anything locally, perhaps buy one online. Probably for $20 or $30, you can get kind of a acceptable quality lavalier microphone. You do need to speak confidently, and I kind of started talking about this a couple of minutes ago. Do not ramble. The other thing that you do need to be sure of is that you speak up. What people do not want to have to do is turn up the volume on your video just to hear you. So what I do encourage you to do is shoot a couple of snippets of videos, look at them, look at the lighting, listen to the audio, be sure that it's not too echoey, be sure that there's not too many distractions behind you before you actually go full force into shooting like a longer video. Be sure that you are playing them back so that way you can know how the final product is going to look. Speaking of sounds, you want to be careful that you are not violating anybody's copyright when it comes to uploading your favorite pop song and using that as background music on your YouTube channel. Don't do that. In the YouTube studio, there is an audio library where you can get free music you can attach to your video, as well as sound effects, dog barking, horn honking, that type of thing. And so you may choose to add some of those sound effects to your video. I'm not going to get deep into video editing here today, but at the end of my presentation, I will share with you, I've got a whole list of resources that has some free video editing software on there as well. So when we get to the end of the presentation, I'll let you know how you can get that list of free resources for you. Now, after you've created your video, you need to upload it to YouTube. When you go into your YouTube channel, there are, seems like dozens of different places where YouTube will let you know, click here to upload your video. Typically, there will be a graphic of an old-fashioned video camera. When you click on that, you'll typically have two options. You can either upload a video that you previously recorded, or you can go live. YouTube does have a live experience as well. We're not going to get into that here today because that's kind of a different marketing strategy, but just wanted to mention it because you may wonder what that's all about. Typically, you'll have your video saved on your computer someplace. You'll navigate through your computer to upload it to YouTube, just the same way that, today in March of 2023, I'm going to guess certainly anybody who is attending today's live webinar on Zoom knows how to upload a file someplace online. Can't even go make a doctor's appointment today without even doing something like that. What will happen now is while your video is kind of processing on the back end of YouTube, you need to fill out a lot more information to let YouTube and future viewers know what your video is all about. The first thing that you want to do is have a title for the video. And this is a question Jeff had in here. Will the titles be cut off if it's too long-ish? Jeff, I don't know off the top of my head what the character limit is, but YouTube will flag you and let you know if you go too long. This is something I suggest you all put a lot of thought into. The title of your video is critically important. As I mentioned before, YouTube is a search engine. One of the best types of titles that you can do is going to start with how to. How to teach a puppy to sit. How to crack my back. How to sleep better at night. How to save money on taxes. How to paint portraits. Those are the types of things people are going to YouTube looking for. What you don't want to do is have something like, overview of Pamela's Pet Shop spring products. Nobody cares about that because nobody is going to be searching for that information on YouTube. The next thing that you do is put in a description of the video. Now, I already talked about having a description of your overall channel. That should let people know this is the type of information you're going to find when you visit my YouTube channel. Now you need to write a description that talks about the specific video. In this video, I talk about how to teach a puppy to sit. These strategies will also work if you want to learn how to train an older dog. So you do want to also think about those keywords that I talked about. Think about keywords as they relate to this one specific video. This is also the place where you would have a link. Remember, I mentioned before, if you want to buy this pen, I have a link in the description, and that's where you would go to your website, find the link of where this product is available, and paste it into the description. Same if you want to invite people to book a consultation with you. This is where you would have the link to where people can book that online consultation. Underneath that is the thumbnail image. That I mentioned the title is critically important. The thumbnail image is also critically important. YouTube will kind of randomly suggest to you 3 places in your video that you can choose to select as your thumbnail image. The thumbnail is a rectangular picture that as people are kind of scrolling through YouTube, they will see that rectangular image and then the title of the video. As a general rule, those 3 random places that YouTube will identify as potential thumbnails are all going to be terrible. So what I recommend you do is create your own thumbnail image. The tool that I use to create YouTube images is called Canva. They have a free version and they have partnered with Google before. So I will put a link to that in the chats. And Canva is kind of like a really cool graphic design tool that's got templates. Now, here's the thing. In your thumbnail image, you want it to be bold. You want it to be eye-catching. If you start looking with kind of a critical eye at other people's thumbnail images, you'll start to notice that. White background with black text. One of the trends that is happening right now are kind of close-ups of people's faces with slightly distorted facial expressions on them. That's kind of weird and it's kind of creepy if you look at it, but people do it for a very strategic reason. And that is because those slightly distorted faces are a little bit more eye-catching to us than a perfectly smiling face. Remember, the whole point of the thumbnail is to get somebody who's scrolling through YouTube to pause and click on your video. So you do want that thumbnail to be something very attention-grabbing. If you scroll down a little bit further, then that's where you have the opportunity to let let YouTube know if you have subtitles for your video. There is also something called an end screen and something called cards. An end screen is kind of like what it sounds. It's a message that you can program in that will show up when your video is over. Cards are something that you may have seen on other people's videos, and those will direct people to other videos that you have created. So here I'm talking all about this particular green pen. This is the way that the product works. Oh, by the way, I already did another product about a blue pen, or another video about my blue pen. If you want to see the video about my blue pen, you can click on the link. And that's how that happens. Those are called cards. And you would program that in when you are submitting the YouTube video elements. What will happen then is there's a couple more things that you need to do. YouTube will kind of go through a status check just to be sure there aren't major issues with your video kind of before you get a little bit further along the line. Visibility. This is something that I kind of mentioned briefly earlier. With your videos, you've got three options. You can make a video public, so that way anybody out there who has access to YouTube online can potentially discover your video. Most of the time, that's probably what you want. You also can create videos that are marked as unlisted, which means the only people that can see the video are people who somehow have gotten a hold of a link of an unlisted video. So somebody out there just kind of randomly scrolling through YouTube would never see your video, but you may want to make an unlisted video. Sometimes when I've done presentations, if I have housed them on my own platform, I would upload the video to YouTube, mark it as unlisted, and then emailed everybody who attended my presentation to say, this is a link to the video that I did for you on Wednesday. All of them can see it. Now here's the catch though. People who have the link to your unlisted video, they can share that with other people. So it's possible that strangers can see those unlisted videos. So just be mindful of that. The third option that you have is a private video. Now we're talking, of course, about your professional life here. There may be times where you do want to create business videos and mark them as private. If you mark a video as private, you are the person who has to type in the email addresses of the only people who are going to have access to your videos. So when would you want to have a private video? Let's say I did group puppy training classes at the park, and I could let people know we have class every Wednesday evening, and I'm going to record every class, and everybody who pays for my group puppy training class is going to get a link to the recording of that week's class. And then after they pay me, then I can record the video, the training class, upload it as a private video, email only the people who sign up for that class, and let them know, here's the recording of Wednesday's class. So that could be a really great business strategy to give your service, if you offer one, a little bit more value and let people know this is a great benefit that you're going to get. You'll have this video that only you can access that will go into everything that we talked about in person. Now, if your video is public, you can schedule it to be live at some point in the future. This can be something that if you start to build some traction with creating videos, you're probably going to want to do this. I will let you know that I know when I'm recording videos, the day that I'm recording a video, it's kind of like everything needs to be perfect that day. No dog in the house, nobody ringing the doorbell, and my t-shirt needs to be ironed or whatever I'm wearing. I need to rearrange the room so that way the lighting looks good. And rather than doing that 5 different times, if I'm recording 5 different videos, I like to record everything all at the same time, knowing that at another point, I might need to update them or edit them. So if you are the type of person who likes to batch your time, you can perhaps record multiple videos on one day, maybe a different day, upload them to YouTube and fill out all the descriptions. But perhaps because of your business model, maybe you want the first video to go out in week 1, the next video to go out a week later, the video after that to go out a week after that. But you don't want to be tied to your computer. and kind of upload everything, do all the work once, and then have them kind of trickle out if that makes sense for your business. Now, after you've done those details to kind of fill out the back end of your video, you do need to do your part of sharing your video. Google is that search engine, and Google's algorithms will show people videos that get a lot of good reaction. So most of the time, you do want to be sure that you are doing your part to share the video with the people who are already connected with you. So the very last step in the video upload process is to share your published video. Now, you can't share it if it's not published yet. If you set it up to be published next week, you can't share the video until that point. YouTube gives you easy ways to share your video with all of your favorite social media platforms, and there's a bunch of them there. And you also will get a link. You can put that link in one-to-one emails. You can put that link in an email marketing tool if you use something like Constant Contact or MailChimp. You can put that link on your website. So do your part to let people know, hey, great news, I've got a new video. So that way different people can watch it, which will start to kind of trigger YouTube's algorithms. The other thing that you can do with YouTube is you can do shorts. If you create any type of video that is 60 seconds or less and you upload it, YouTube will kind of automatically turn that into a short video. Shorts is kind of, well, so many people are doing different short videos on different social media platforms, and you can do those on YouTube as well. Those are great opportunities to kind of do something that's fast, that's kind of eye-catching, to get new people who maybe don't know your brand to be a little bit more interested in what you have to say. If they like your short, they can click on it, see what other videos you have. If you want to learn a little bit more about shorts, there is a link that's on the slide. I'll go ahead and read this out loud if there's anybody who, for whatever reason, can't see the screen. It is youtu.be/9EJIH8KXTN8. Now that does not roll off the tongue easily, but I just wanted to say that out loud in case there is anybody who can't see my screen. All right, so that's a lot of information. Now, I just kind of gave you an overview of how you can create your channel, how you can create and upload your videos. Now, what I want to do is just really briefly before we wind down and I get into questions, I want to go ahead and talk about some resources where you can get more help. The first thing that I want to let you know is YouTube has a YouTube creators YouTube channel. You can find this at youtube.com/YouTube creators. This is where you can get all kinds of good quality training about YouTube directly from YouTube. So this is a great place to go if you want to learn anything about, what's the best type of microphone to get, to how can I monetize my YouTube channel, to how can I write a good description for my videos. So definitely get to know the YouTube creators YouTube channel. Now, when it comes to anything that is related to Grow with Google, or if you've attended any of my trainings in the past, there is a great YouTube channel for Grow with Google. And you can find all kinds of information about how to run your business at youtube.com/growwithgoogle. And then, of course, Grow with Google we have our own website, which is google.com/grow. If you can't remember anything that I've said here today, or if you can never remember anything I've ever said, if you've attended any of my other webinars with SCORE Minnesota, one thing I do want you to remember is Grow with Google. This website, google.com/grow, that's the hub of all of the information Google has. So go there and you can find everything else that I have ever talked to you all about. Now, I did tell you earlier in this presentation that I would share with you some resources where you can get things like free still photography that is copyright free and doesn't cost you anything, free video editing software. People ask me about this all the time. So I finally put together a list of free marketing resources. I'll be happy to email them to you. I just need your permission to do that. So I'm going to put a link in the chat here to you. If you're interested in getting this email with these free resources, click on the link I just put in the chat. Or you can visit my website, which is PamelaStarOnline.com. Or you can pull out your smartphone if you're watching today's presentation on a computer, scan the QR code that I have on the screen. All of those places will go to the one place where you can request to get this list of free marketing resources for you. All right, so thank you all for your time. I am going to pause in just a moment and get into some questions. I do want to let you know at Google, we really value your opinion. We've got a quick little survey to ask you what more information do you need. We would love it if you would fill this out at g.co/grow/feedback, or you can scan the QR code that's on the screen there too. All right, Patty, I see that you said please send the links to you. Patty, I need you to fill out the form. For other people here, I just need everybody to fill out the form. I just put another link in the chat. That way you will automatically get the information. All right, so what I'm going to do is kind of go through some of the questions really quickly here. All right, Jeff says, should we add the video title to the body information, to the description? Jeff, you don't need to do that because the title itself will definitely trigger YouTube's algorithms. And then the description is where you want to weave in those keywords that you think people are going to be using if they're looking for information that you have to share. Again, in the description, this is not like Instagram where you've got some space and then a list of 20 hashtags. This is not what you want to do. You want to weave those words and phrases, those keywords, into a description that makes sense when your future customer is actually reading it. All right, let's see. Linda says, I've had trouble with making my logo picture and images. I want to use the, all right, I'm going to kind of paraphrase. Linda is saying that she's having trouble making her logo picture and images. Do I recommend a tool? Again, Canva is a great tool that you can use to create those. I will put them in the chat again. Canva, as I mentioned, has a free version that I use a lot. There's also a paid version if you want like fancy pictures or something like that. Linda, definitely take a look at Canva. What's nice about that is you can search for a template, like profile picture template, which I actually was searching for not too long ago. So definitely go and check that out. All right, Dolores, I think I answered your question. Let's see. All right, Jasper, I'm not going to read your question out loud. Jasper is basically saying, does YouTube allow anybody to change your channel? No, absolutely not. Your channel is your channel. Other people, viewers, cannot change your channel. Viewers, if you allow them to, can leave comments, but viewers can't add videos to your channel. They cannot delete videos on your channel. The only people that can make changes to your channel are people that you choose to give access to by setting them up as a user or something along those lines. All right, SD has another question. How long should your videos be? This is a great question. The general rule of thumb, if you're doing a video that is designed to help your primary business grow, here's a great pen I'm talking to you about. If you want to learn more, go to our website because we have all kinds of office supplies. A video like that should probably be as short as it needs to be to get your point across. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Do not ramble in your YouTube videos. The only catch there is there are some people who their YouTube channel is their business. They tend to do longer videos, 20, 30-minute videos, because what they're trying to do is build up the number of hours that people have watched their videos, because there is a threshold before you can start generating some compensation from advertisements that can be shown either before or after, or sometimes in the middle of your video. Those people are doing that because they're trying to get people to hang on and watch their videos longer. So that way they've got more hours watched. All right, question here. What about businesses that don't have a tangible or visitable benefits or products, such as counseling services? How do you show those things? All right, we'll talk about counseling services. And obviously, I'm not a counselor, so if I get this off topic, please forgive me. But if I was a counselor, I could say something like, as a, licensed mental health professional, people ask me questions all the time. And one of the questions people ask me is about how can I stop those thoughts that go through my mind all night long and keep me from sleeping. These are 3 things that you might want to do. Then maybe list them. And then, if you're not sure or if you want more help, there's a link in my description below where you can schedule a free consultation with me. So that would be the type of video that I would create if I, was a counselor and had those kind of intangible things. Think about the questions that people ask you and maybe do a video that kind of answers those different questions. Jeff says, any brand recommendations for microphones? I don't particularly, Jeff, but if you look at the YouTube creator channel, I believe that they do have a video about microphones. Jeff says, any recommendations for the size of the thumbnail graphic? Jeff, YouTube changes that periodically, but if you go into the area in the video description where there's a link to upload your own graphic, it will tell you what the current standard is for the size of that thumbnail. All right, Michael says, can you give your channel more than one name so that way anyone searching for either of your channels has a chance to have your channel listed in the results? Michael, you can only have one name for your channel, but what you might do is in your channel description, you might want to say something like, this channel used to be called Michael's YouTube channel. If you are looking for that information, we have this information here. Or if you have kind of 2 different channels that really talk about 2 different topics, you can still in that channel description kind of cross promote them and say, this is Michael's dog training channel. If you're also interested in Michael's auto supply store, here's information about how you can see that YouTube channel. So you can kind of cross promote them in the channel description. Linda says, do I have any suggestions about the orientation of a phone when recording from your phone? If you are going to do what I'm going to call longer format video, we recommend that you hold your phone horizontally like this. If you're going to be doing video shorts, then we do recommend that you hold it vertically. All right, I'm going to pause here. I know Diane and Leola, you've got some final comments that you wanted to make. If you want to go ahead and make those, I'll be happy to stick on afterwards and answer people's questions. I am being mindful of the time and I want to be sure that we don't go too long. I see that there are lots and lots of questions here, but I want to be sure everybody gets your final comments as well.
All right. Well, really, I would just like to thank all of our attendees for today and for learning more about how to grow your business. You will receive a survey to let us know how we can improve or other topics that you may be interested in. And Pamela, if you did have a few more minutes for a few more questions and answers, we would love for you to be able to do that. And
okay.
Thank you everyone once again for attending.
Okay, great. Jeff says, is it possible to change the video on the post after publishing it? No. Once the video is published, the video is published. If you want to, you talked about this green pen and it's out of stock, and so now you want to talk about the blue pen, you would have to create a totally new video. Let's see. Linda says, do we need to use the channel name in the title? You do not. The title should just be, what is the video all about? What about the use of hashtags in the description? YouTube gives you the opportunity to designate hashtags. Just so you all know, for YouTube, hashtags don't really mean anything. YouTube, it would be kind of like going to Google and doing hashtagging something on Google. It just doesn't quite work that way, but YouTube does give you the opportunity to add hashtags simply because so many social media influencers are used to doing hashtags on social media platforms that they like to do them on YouTube. So it does have a place where you can put them in if you want to. All right, I'm going to kind of scroll through some of these questions and see if there are any questions that I think are probably good for the entire group. And I know some people have asked a lot of questions, so if I've already answered a lot of questions from somebody, I'm going to kind of flip around and see if there's other people whose questions I have not answered. All right, Jamie made a comment here that I speak too much without space to absorb the information. I'm sorry that I was rushing. There is a lot of information that I do like to communicate. Be mindful that everybody will get a copy of the video from today's presentation, as well as the slides. Those will come to you directly from SCORE. Let's see. Helen says, is it better to be found organically or to send links to grow? Is there a difference in rankings? In a perfect world, it would be great if it was all organic, but you need to do your part by sharing links to your video to kind of start to trigger those organic views. They are perfectly fine. It's not, one is not any more valuable when it comes to YouTube's algorithms than the other. How do I add the link to another video in my video? Is that done in other software? That is done in the description. Let me, I'll go back and share my screen again if I can. Remember I talked about cards? That is the cards. Let me, here we go. Let's go back to the channel description. There we go. We talked about this. So linking to some other video, you do that by the cards in your channel description. Janine says, how many times should I repeat the call to action? Should it be verbal and typed in the description? You don't want to be obnoxious about it. You might want to say something at the beginning of the video, just to while you're still capturing people's attention, and then mention it again at the end. Now, don't forget, I talked about this before. If you want to buy this green pen, the link is in the description. Now, don't be obnoxious about it. Let's see. All right, Dolores says, can a channel that is several years old be monetized, or does it need to be a new channel? I only have a couple of subscribers. If it's an older channel, you absolutely can monetize it. I don't recall off the top of my head what the perfect number is. So I will tell you what I think it is. This may be off track because, again, YouTube changes things frequently. It used to be you needed to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 viewer hours in a 12-month period before Google would then, or excuse me, YouTube then would give you the opportunity to sign up for their partner program, which if you do that, then you would collect some revenue off of advertisements that are placed before or after your video. So that's a pretty good threshold, but it's something definitely to work towards. Jeff says, should we have text added to the video in case the viewer is watching on their phone with the sound down? That's a great strategy. What I recommend is, unless the text itself is there for a particular reason, you can always have the captions on there. And I listen to YouTube videos frequently with the captions on, just because maybe I don't want to disturb my family members if they're watching television and I'm not interested in what they're watching. Other times people will have, kind of like bold text and like a cyan blue background, kind of capture people's attention. That's another great strategy as well. Let's see. Just again, I wanted to kind of flip through these questions and see if I'm answering questions from people who haven't asked questions, who I haven't answered one of their questions before. Patty says, can you add a subscribe button with a link to subscribe to your channel at the top of your channel? What you need to do, Patty, is you need to tell people, if you liked this video, please subscribe to my channel. And what people need to do is underneath that, there is the opportunity for them to subscribe to your channel. So you can't add any action item actually in the video. You can have a graphic in your video. If you can do that in your video production software or your video editing software, you could have a graphic that says something like, please subscribe, look below, or something along those lines. All right, so I think, all right, we talked about, is there a way to start monetizing when your channel is still small? The only other way that you could monetize your channel could be something like, if you're interested in this pen, and this is something you might see, the pen manufacturer has sponsored this particular video. And this is a great pen and this is why. Some people will get sponsorships, but typically you need to have a lot of subscribers before you can get sponsorships. So if monetizing your channel is a goal of yours, and it's a great goal to have, start working on creating lots of content and start working on content that has the goal in mind of getting more subscribers. So that's the kind of content that you need to create if you really have the goal of monetizing your channel. So I already talked about tags. Last question here. How do you protect videos' intellectual property? She says, I've been told that YouTube employees take videos and put them on their own channels and make money off of others' property. I personally have never heard of that happening. It's possible, you know, people are human. My overwhelming belief is if there was any YouTube employee who did that, they would probably be fired. So just be mindful of that. I would not worry about that. We'll put it that way. And then finally, how do you allow people to get notifications of your channel? You need to tell people. There's a little bell icon. Click the bell icon if you want to get notifications when I have new videos. All right, so thank you all for your time. I apologize to everybody for running 7 minutes over, but I did want to go through all of the questions. I wish you all the best of luck with your YouTube channel and everything else that it is that you're trying to do in your business. Until next time, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Pamela. And just a reminder that a copy of today's presentation and slides will be emailed to everybody. Thank you so much for attending.